Welcome everybody back to the Excellence in Education podcast, sponsored by Pike County School System. I'm Jeff Vanderbeck, publisher of the Appalachian News Express, along with several other papers around the region. And today I've got a wonderful guest today. She's a very nice young lady, and she's got a lot of stuff to talk about. I just met her actually, and I've got a surprise. Well, she's got a surprise for me, which we're going to get into here in a minute. But I want to welcome Katie Schram over to our podcast. Katie, welcome to our podcast. Tell me about yourself, who you are, what you do, and what's your position over at the school system.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here today. Of course, my name is Katie Schram. I'm the principal at Belfry Elementary. This is my first year as principal. So we're about halfway through. So we're at the halfway point. It's been a great first year so far. I was a teacher at Valley Elementary before I became principal, and I taught at Belfry Elementary for about half the year before I took a leadership role within our school, and I taught 1 year at Kimber Elementary as well.
So how long have you been teaching?
This is my 14th year.
Wow.
Yes.
And where are you from originally?
Belfry.
Okay, so you grew up in Belfry.
Uh-huh.
So what's interesting about what we've got going on, and one of the things with our podcast that we're doing is I'm finding that the educators, the principals, the supervisors and stuff like that, the teachers even, they were born and raised in a particular area in Pike County. They go out, they get educated, they come back, and they give back to the community. So what made you make that decision to, first of all, where did you go to school, college?
I went to Eastern Kentucky University.
EKU, great.
Yes.
Our sports writer Randy went there.
Mhm.
Randy White went there, and he's got a wonderful repertoire of things. So it's a great college, great university. And what made you decide to come back to Pike County?
Well, I've always loved Pike County. It's where my family is. I wanted to give back to our community. I became a teacher because I worked as a youth leader at our church, and I loved seeing our kiddos gain success, and I wanted to continue that. And so I attended EKU and got both my elementary education degrees and special ed degrees. And so I wanted to come back and give back to my community.
Why elementary teaching? Why did you not want to go into something where the kids are a little bit more mature? Why? What
I just love my little babies. They're all babies, especially my fifth graders who are 11 to 12. They're babies too, and I love that age group. They still love you, and I've just always loved that age group.
Have you ever decided or chosen to go into a higher age group? I mean, you're a principal at the elementary school now. Have you thought about going into like the high school, or are you just steadfast on the young?
I am a true elementary teacher and principal. I just love it. I always have. That's just where my heart is.
Okay, personal question. You have any children of your own?
I do not.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, you've got several that you deal with on a daily basis,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Good.
And I told the Lord that if my 600 children at my elementary school were the ones I was to love, I would, and those would be my babies.
I totally understand
Yes.
that. When you were growing up, when you were going through school, did you say, I want to become a teacher?
Immediately, no. I thought I wanted to be an accountant, and I learned real quick that I'm not accountant-minded. So, and working through our youth group, I loved it. I fell in love with teaching our kiddos and seeing them gain success. I can remember one story. We had a little girl who was terrified of public speaking, and she would shy away from that. And we worked with her for the longest time, and she ended up doing her little programs and things. And I just loved seeing her journey to becoming successful. And that's something that I wanted to do on a daily basis.
How has the education in America, how has teaching children or the education system changed from where you are now and I'm going to get into the difference between teaching versus being a principal.
Right.
How has teaching kids now changed from when you were in school?
Well, we have a lot more distractions now. We actually just had our professional learning community meetings today with our teachers, and it's hard when we're having to look at competing with social media or competing with games that are on the computer, and you come into the classroom, and of course we use technology every single day. But, when it comes down to working, having to do book work or having to do things that are non-negotiable in the classroom,
Sure.
it's hard to fight against, when you're up against them playing on tablets or devices or things. I think that's the most difficult thing that has changed.
Have you added to your curriculum like interpersonal relationship things like looking people in the eye,
Mm.
shaking their hand, putting the phone away, putting the device away, and being able to explain orally, how they're feeling, what's going on with
Right.
them, and
We do actually. We were a PBI school where we used positive behavior intervention supports before I even came to Belfry Elementary. But now through our MTSS, we use a lot of social emotional learning. Our counselor, Mrs. Suzanne Hanson, I told her I would give her a plug today. But she's wonderful. She actually worked with our special class teachers. So once a week, our students during their extracurricular time that's built into the schedule, they have a once a week lesson on those social emotional skills, being responsible, talking about your feelings, how you treat others. Next year, we are going to be partnering with some local businesses to do the Amazing Shake, and we learned about
all
that.
right, tell me about that. What is the Amazing Shake?
We learned about the Amazing Shake a few years ago when we went to Atlanta to the Ron Clark Academy because we do the house system. That's a lot like what he does
Sure.
at his school. But the Amazing Shake is where students they volunteer to do it. It's not something that they have to do, but they learn things like looking people in the eye. They learn to give a good handshake, to talk to others, and they compete at the end of the year. And so you have different stations and centers that are set up, and lots of local businesses usually help out with that. And students are met with challenges and they're scored based on how they respond.
Wow.
So they may walk into a room where someone spills a cup of pencils. Like, how are they going to react? So it teaches them those soft skills that they may not have yet. So we're working on building that next year
Sure.
with our students.
You mentioned the dropping of the pencils. What
Mhm.
would be an appropriate reaction for an elementary school student?
Right. So they would jump in and help to pick those up.
Do you feel like kids are that, I don't want to say aggressive, but are that motivated or that astute to understand that that is the right thing to do to help when something is broken?
I think so. I think we're about half and half there. I think some of our kiddos, they kind of hesitate on what the right thing is to do. So I think it's our job, and I feel like it's my job as an administrator. We're not just preparing kids for an end of the year test or for a class.
Sure.
It's my job to prepare them for life. And even as far as when we talk about handling challenging behaviors in our school, it's my job to teach you how to interact because you're going to have these issues. And so what we do as an adult, and what we do is we work with our counselor and we like to teach first and then we talk about consequences. So we equip them with the necessary lessons on, if my friend and I are having an argument or something just doesn't feel right, we don't automatically just go and have a brawl on our
Sure.
playground.
Yeah.
We talk about it. We seek an adult because honestly in life you're going to meet people that you may have an argument with, and it's not always appropriate just to go outside,
Beat the crap out of each other. Yeah.
So I feel like it's my job, it's my teacher's job, my counselor's, my assistant's job to make sure our students are equipped with those skills.
Well, you mentioned a couple of things that are really kind of poignant for me to kind of point out. You're mentioning what your job is. The question that I've got is that and I was going to ask you what the difference is between being a teacher and an administrator. As an administrator, you've got the view of the top of everybody. How does your team respond to or interact with the wishes and the goals and the plans that you put out so that you do have a cohesive strategy and plan that is consistent?
Well, we I'm very blessed and fortunate because I would put my teachers, my staff up against anybody because they always go above and beyond. I have a really strong admin team. We actually this year have started meeting every week. So that way we're on the same page. We follow up with things that each other have talked about during our meetings to see where progress is. We also meet with our teachers weekly and we come up with a plan because we view as if we're all a team. Parents, teachers, the admin, our job and our responsibility is to ensure that our kids are successful. So we're all on that same page.
Sure. You've mentioned the word success
Mm-hmm.
numerous times in the last few minutes. What is success for a child, and what is success for the administrative staff? So, can you differentiate the two
Right.
between those for me?
I think success for the child depends on the child. To be honest with you, it's there's not a cookie cutter definition of that. Success can look like different things for different kiddos, and I think it's important that we make sure we look at all avenues, whether it's academics or it's the social emotional skills, and we just make sure that we tailor that we have our children that are leaving us able to do the reading and writing and math and things, but also that they're able to interact and build those relationships with other people. As far as my staff, that looks like, the success for them is when their students are successful too, when they have built those relationships, because, building those relationships is a key indicator of success. So if they have built those relationships with their students, with their parents, with their community, that's success for our staff as well.
I equate education to like medicine. You go to the doctor and you take a particular type of medication. You go to a school and you get an education. Not everybody is the same, so everybody's reaction to that particular type of medication could be 100% different.
Right.
As far as education, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, and hear how does this work for you, but every student is different. They have different learning patterns. They have different social economic issues that they're dealing with. They
Right.
have different behavioral issues that they're dealing with. They have just emotional things that they're dealing with. Do you custom tailor once you recognize those patterns? Do you have to custom tailor per each one of the 600 students?
We absolutely try to. That is, our goal. And that's part of the reason that we meet weekly with our teachers, because our counselor also meets with us. She has built in times where she meets with students who need the emotional side. Sure. Maybe we need to, especially when we know that something has happened in their life that is important or it's crucial. Something that's happened that has affected them in some
Do
sort of
the
way.
kids do they tell you, do they communicate to you that grandma's dying, or we
A
got
lot
a
of
bad
the
accident, or we don't have money for food, or
A lot of the times, yes, their parents usually trust us enough to let us know. Our teachers, again, back to building those
sure.
relationships, and that's one of the reasons that we adopted our house system, was to create those communities of positive relationships, so kids feel comfortable talking to the adults in our building. They feel comfortable talking to their teachers, and I will say our kids are really good at, if a friend doesn't necessarily tell an adult, that friend knows to come to an adult themselves and let us know.
So that's a very important key, because sometimes, bad things happen. Our kids have ill intent because of outside pressures,
Right.
and they'll tell a friend, "Oh, I'm going to go and beat up Joey down the street
Right.
for his milk money,"
Right.
and they'll tell somebody, and is that in the prison they call that a rat, and
Right.
snitches get
Yeah.
stitches. How do you kind of thwart that at the elementary level to say, listen, if you see something that you think is bad, are they able to differentiate bad from nonsense and be able to explain to a professional?
Right. I feel like that we've equipped them to be able to do that. Um, we do, I would rather they snitch than, something happen. And we explain that to our kids. Like, if someone comes and tells, and it's a very important thing that we need to know about, we will tell them, yes, your friend told, but they were looking out for you.
Sure.
And so we have to have that trust and that relationship with their kiddos that they will do that. I think that's very important.
How is the relationship with? I mean, you talk about relationship with the students. How important is it to have the administration faculty have a relationship with the parents or the guardians? Because a lot of kids now, as you probably know or know, a lot of kids are being raised by grandparents or other people.
Right.
How important is that to have that relationship with their guardians?
I think that is very important. Again, relationships equals success to me. So my assistant and I, and my counselor again, in one of our admin PLCs, were talking about because that's what we wanted to build. But it's new. We're new to not necessarily to our community, but as administrators. So what we wanted to do is work on building that trust and relationships. And we have done several things. Like you'll see us out on bus duty every day, morning drop off, and in the evening. We also did a Christmas caroling bus this year that we've hopefully started that tradition to meet parents and grandparents where they are, because we do have things where they come into us. They come in for our programs, our Veterans Day programs. When we do trunk or treat, they're always coming to us. And this year, we wanted to go to them in their own communities, meet them where they are,
Sure.
just to build that relationship and that trust.
You mentioned the word tradition. Belfry's got a rich tradition on a lot of different levels. Are you getting great support from the middle and high school faculty? Do they come down and talk to the elementary students? Do they kind of engage with them to say, when you grow up, you're going to be here and this is your expectation level? Are they helpful with that
Yes,
process?
I'm very blessed to work with really great administrators who do that.
We had
Mr. Hager.
Boo,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
We actually had his first name here. I don't remember what it was, but it was Jared or
Gerald,
Gerald. Yeah, he goes, I'm like, what? So what is your real
Yeah.
first name? And he told me, I'm like, holy cheapers, that's
Yes.
funny.
Yes.
So, but he also said that he's instrumental in talking to the younger folks. That's important.
Yes, I have had Mr. Hager come down and do meetings with me. We have to. I feel like just with the relationships with our students or my faculty, the community, the other administrators is in my area as well, is it's very important. And so one thing that we did this year is, and we've continued it's something that has become tradition, is our trunk or treat night, where we're all together, and that's an opportunity for the teachers to see each other and to work together. We also host
Football team and the cheerleaders to get
Yes.
together and do those things.
Yes,
Sure.
and the JAG group came during October and worked with Red Ribbon Week with our students. We've just had several opportunities for them to come and work with us.
So what motivates Katie to get out of bed and go see 600 kids who are going to have some issues? They're going to be, right now it's cold and flu season. There's going to be snot running around. There's going to be kids wiping their noses on the handrails. And some days you probably just, when you're curling your hair, you look in the mirror and say, what have I done to myself? What motivates you to get out and do your job?
My babies at school. I mean, it's just every day's a different day. Every day's a clean slate. And I think it's important to show up for them. Some of our kiddos may not necessarily have somebody that shows up for them every day. And that's my responsibility to show up for them.
Biblically speaking, that's a pretty heavy cross to bear. So I'm glad you have support staff to do that.
Yeah.
So I understand you brought something with you.
I did. I brought you
Tell me
some
what
swag.
did you bring?
Well, first of all, of course, we do the house system. So Amistad was our winner for the past.
Oh, nice.
So we brought you. My team sent you some Amistad T-shirts. And our 8 houses, 1 family.
Nice.
There are 8 houses within our school community.
Fantastic.
So
Thank
we
you.
have brought that. And
We've got a couple of Belfry alumni here. Bobby Gilliam is here, and Lisa Moore, her family's all from here. And
these are our virtues. It's their virtue shirt. We helped our
beautiful.
staff this year. And each of the virtues represent a house. My house is on Rocca, and we're the Orange House. We're the House of Unity, and our job is to unite people. And we teach our kids what unity means. Even we have kindergartners all the way up to 5th graders in our house. and they work to unite not only our team together, but our community, and our sister house. So each house has a sister house. Ours is Isabendi. It's the greenhouse, and we've made things for them so that their students in that house, so that they feel united and that we know them. And we've made things for the nursing home,
Sure.
Christmas cards and things, just to unite our community as well.
One of the things that I've noticed, we do these podcasts with a lot of principals and stuff with the school systems, and one of the things I've noticed is that, education it's not just reading, writing, and arithmetic anymore.
Right.
It's the total person.
Mhm.
Like the University of Pikeville has got the DO program. When you talk about how to become a DO,
Mhm.
that kind of doctor, it encompasses the entire body, mind and body and everything. What it sounds like the system has done is incorporated, family, community, extracurricular activities that include your partners in the school, the other students, and oh, by the way, you've got to learn your timetables. You got to learn how to read and spell and write, and it's not just the basics anymore.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about how that transition works. Do the kids get that, do you think, and where does it progress going from there?
I think that our staff does a wonderful job as far as teaching the whole child, and we all realize that responsibility is on us to make sure that we're not just teaching them, the basics, that we are preparing them for life outside of elementary school.
Sure.
And I know when I meet with students, usually it's about behavior, but I always, even as a teacher, said, it's my job to teach you for when you leave me.
Sure.
And I feel like that's our job now, and that's part of it. We have more responsibility than ever to make sure that our students again are successful.
When I was going to high school and elementary and all that stuff, I was scared to death of the principals. I was always in their office, believe it or not. I know it's hard to believe, but I was always in the office. But the principals I spoke to, that I've worked with in the county, always seem fair and open and worry about the child first and making sure that that's it. And there's never a bad word. So, Katie, I want to thank you very much for joining us today. A whole host of information. We talked about a lot of great things. You sound like you're doing great things out there at the Belfry Elementary School. I'm really proud of what you're doing. I'm sure the community is. Now they know the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey says. And I look forward to our next visit because it's going to be important. So I want to do some follow up on what's happening. So, and you're only in your first year, so hopefully in the next couple of months we'll come back. We'll do this all over again.
Okay.
Thank you once again for joining us in Pike County Schools Excellence Education Podcast. Again, I'm Jeff Vanderbeck. My beautiful and lovely and talented and very smart and witty guest today, Katie Schram, just did a great job. I'm so happy that you were here. Thank you so much for showing up.
Thank you for having me.
You have a great day.
All right. You too.
Thanks.